in the on the Warsaw side of the Mississippi River. That's where we find KHOA's Rachel Pierson. Rachel, what is the situation right now?
That's right, Raja. We have breaking news out of Hancock County right now, where a boat has apparently gone missing right here at this very launch. Warsaw Fire Department just came in. They brought in their boats for the night. I spoke with a couple of gentlemen from the fire department who were out all evening, not all evening rather, but looking for a boat that supposedly sank. Now, here's what we know so far. The fire department tells me that a call came in earlier this evening from someone passing over the bridge near Keokuk. They visibly saw a boat going underwater. That's when they put in a call to 911. Warsaw Fire Department, Keokuk Volunteer Emergency Corps, and other emergency services are out and about looking for this boat. We're not entirely sure how many people are on board, but I can tell you that they're calling it quits for tonight. They're going to come back early tomorrow morning and start looking for boats. The gentleman that I spoke to with the Warsaw Fire Department said that if the boat had any reflective material whatsoever, they would have been able to identify it at this point. They started launching here in Warsaw. They traveled then north to Keokuk and went all the way up there. Now, the Keokuk Emergency Volunteer Corps traveled south to cover equal ground. We don't know how many people are on board. We don't know if in fact this is true or not. Again, it was reported just from a passerby on a bridge, so it hasn't actually been confirmed. That's why tomorrow they're still going to go back and keep looking. We'll continue to update you with the more information we have on our Facebook page and on KHQA.com. Live in Warsaw, Rachel Pierson, KHQA News. In the blink of an eye, a tornadic storm uprooted and threw this mobile home as if it were weightless, leaving behind only this wooden porch. Thankfully, no one was home. It used to be a telephone pole was the best way to find a lost pet. But now, when it comes to lost and found, social media is a man's best friend.
I spent 20 years being paid for.
15-year-old Christine McDonald ran away from an abusive home. As a homeless youth, she was unknowingly brought into the world of human trafficking.
He had to test the goods, and the goods were me.
But Christine says prostitution doesn't look the way we expect it to.
It's not like I signed up and said, ooh, I want you to sell me for sex, right?
The pretty woman picture of prostitution is dangerously misleading. Only about 11% of women prostitute voluntarily. The other 89% face a much darker reality.
You were commodified, you were objectified, and you were reduced to an object. A little red truck, you turn a corner, and he pulled over, flashed his brake lights, so I walked down to the corner and I got in and we went and parked. And he pulled me out of that truck and he beat me and he raped me like I was a grown man. He took a gun and he pointed it at me as he told me how I wasn't worthy of breathing the same air that he was and how unworthy of life that I was. And I just waited and I just waited for him to pull the trigger. And he did it. And then he set the gun down and he started to undo his britches because he decided he was going to violate me all over again. I had an opportunity to get the gun and I told him to get on his knees and he told me about his wife and his kids and his job and his home, how valuable he was to the world. I had every ounce of hate and rage in me to take that man's life that day.
Christine says an act of God kept her from pulling the trigger.
I didn't want to be the same monster that had been inflicted upon me over the years.
72 hours is all it takes with food and sleep deprivation, violence, or random acts of kindness to gain complete emotional and psychological control of another human being.
To realize that you have fallen prey to somebody that had that much psychological manipulation and control over you and none of it was real, everything you knew was a lie.
With 103 arrests, 9 felony convictions, and 7 trips to prison, Christine is no stranger to law enforcement.
Can't wait till, we find you dead so we can quit wasting our time with people like you.
Even in prison, prostitutes are seen as the lowest of the low.
I had never been looked at as a human equal to the people around me, right?
Christine now uses her story to save other women's lives and break the cycle of trafficking.
As long as there's payers, there's going to be women, and as long as there's women and payers, there's always going to be traffickers willing to take our people and exploit them and psychologically manipulate them. But if more communities would have those conversations in public settings so that we can debunk some of this, guess what? We're going to create a culture of a more comfortable environment for women to be able to leave.
In Missouri, Rachel Pierson, KHQA News.
I'm going to try and get another crew to help you.
For the past few months, Central Adams County has been training the next generation of volunteer firefighters.
We are putting a ladder on the A-side window.
Yeah, everyone come together and we all put our skills together.
With their courses coming to a close, it's time to put their knowledge to the test.
You know, we got to make sure we're all on the same page, and so we can get in and out as fast as we can and not waste any time.
Understand, what are the conditions?
Using a training facility at the Camp Point Fire Department, participants were dispatched and sent out to a structure fire scenario, including a victim and a firefighter down.
I've got 2. We have par on attack 2.
Lifting someone that's dead weight and trying to get their body to do what it wants is really hard.
With the majority of these volunteers having professions other than firefighting, it's hard to find time and resources for training. That's why the Fire Service Institute through the University of Illinois established a cornerstone program for rural fire departments to receive free training.
A lot of times there's budgetary constraints and they can't get their firefighters to the establishments to get training, so they send us out and they train them in-house.
Ranging anywhere from 18 to 88, instructors say there's no shortage of volunteers.
And a lot of them grow up seeing their cousins, their dads, their uncles doing this job, and they can't wait to fill in themselves. So there's never a shortage of volunteers, and with the grants that are going on, they're starting to get equipment and stuff that is top-of-the-line, state-of-the-art equipment.
These men and women provide an incredibly valuable service to their communities, and they do it on their own time.
I mean, there's several guys here that could go into a house fire with me any day.